And welcome back, everybody, to WTL Where's the Line? I'm your host, Andy, class enjoyed by
Jabron.
Oh, the Parlay Pounder.
You know it. We're back.
Yes, we are. And that was a heck of an opening segment there with the Greg Peterson of VSiN out of Las Vegas. Dropping some knowledge there as far as the Big Ten basketball, Big East basketball, and of course our Huskers and Creighton Blue Jays.
Let it fly. Go Jays.
Let it fly. And obviously we have some midweek basketball we got to talk over as well.
Yeah.
Now let's get into some Big Ten and Big 12 football.
Yeah.
Let's dive right into it here. A couple ranked opponents, two opponents that unfortunately the Huskers know a lot about. Number 21, Illinois, heading on over to Ann Arbor, Michigan, to take on the number 3 Michigan Wolverines. And no one's surprised, the Wolverines are an 18-point favorite here. 11 o'clock kickoff on ABC.
Yeah, like you said, Andy, Michigan coming in 18-point favorite at home. Over-under sitting pretty low, I think, Andy, at 40.5 points.
Yep, 40.5.
The big reason that is because as you know, all the blunders that Illinois had, they still have this pretty stout defense that have been able to keep Big Ten opponents in check. The one thing that I just got to say, Andy, is poor old Illinois. It was a little bit of a fun ride for them this year, but I think it's time to pack it in. It's basketball season for them.
Come on.
But be very, very careful.
They're still ranked.
I get it, but just be very, very careful if you are a Michigan bettor this week.
Yeah.
Don't just think because they blew us out, they're going to blow out this team. I really think it's going to be a little bit of a lower scoring game. I'm guessing, somewhere between like Michigan 23, Illinois 16. I do believe that Illinois will cover this spread, and that under is looking a little bit good to me as well, Andy.
Yeah, the under, it looks really good, and that's why it's so low, because the under has hit 8 of 11 of last Michigan games, 14 of 20 of last Illinois games. So that's where everything's really pointing towards. I don't like those stretched out point spreads either, and Michigan's been giving those up every so often.
Yeah.
And this is a conference game. It's going to be cold. It's going to be a watered-down playbook. And you got two good defenses, really good defenses.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And plus, the one thing that you can really get on Illinois' side about, I know that I was just bashing them a little bit, but
that's all right.
Everybody in the Big Ten, everybody in the country is looking forward to next week, Michigan versus Ohio State.
Yes.
So in theory, this is an absolute perfect spot for Illinois to ruin the party a little bit, or at least give them a scare. So I really like Illinois to cover in this game, and if I had to lean towards one way or the other, it would be towards the under.
This is one where we'll agree on. We should write this down. We agree on both the under and what we think could happen. So let's move on to the Big 12, another highly ranked team, the TCU Horned Frogs. They just keep winning. They just keep aggravating everybody. They're in the college football playoff. Get off their back. There's nothing more they could do.
Yeah, exactly, Andy. And this was one of my biggest bets of last week that I was telling everybody, get on the Frogs. They're going to beat Texas. It's going to happen. The Frogs come into this one, Andy, as a 2.5-point favorite as it sits, going into Baylor, over-under sitting at 57.5.
Typical Big 12 man.
Typical Big 12.
It just moved up consensus to 58.
Yeah, geez. It could be. Baylor might hold on to the ball for over 32 minutes in this game, Andy.
They'll have to.
They have to.
Yeah.
But TCU will adjust to this. Once again, there will be chances for the other side to take over and pull off a win, but I believe, once again, TCU will rise up, get a timely stop.
Yeah.
Get the field goal, get the touchdown, and cover this spread. I really like TCU to at least money line here, but if it's only at 2.5, I'm going to take the 2.5 because I think they no less win by a field goal at the end of this game. Give me the Horned Frogs.
Yeah, and there's some decent money lines out there to be had. Yeah. So that might be the better bet. I do like the hook at 2.5. It's still off that 3, so if you want to get it, and you're looking at 98% of the money coming in on TCU. So if you still want to get that hook, get that 2.5, you better get it in sooner than later. Otherwise, moving towards that money line bet might be the way to go if you like the Horned Frogs.
Yeah, no, and that's just because that people have been overlooking the Horned Frogs all season long. I think it's finally catching up with them that they beat a good opponent in Texas, and now people really think that they're going to win the Big 12 championship.
They're right there.
And they have to beat Baylor to do that. So I really, really like TCU in this game, and give me the 2.5 points we're covering.
That's an excellent point you made. And yes, they can't take their foot off the gas because they're catching so much shade nationally as far as being in the college football playoff. They know it's in front of them. So, yeah, this isn't Baylor's going to sneak up on you type of scenario.
No.
Let's stay in the Big 12 here for another ranked game here, or at least Kansas State ranked 19th in the nation after stumbling a couple times. Heading on out to West Virginia. That just sounds like a conference game, right?
Yep.
Kansas, West Virginia. Sure. 1 o'clock kickoff on ESPN. Oh, boy. And Kansas State's a huge favorite. Over a touchdown. 7.5.
Yeah, Andy. And I don't know what I like in this game, Andy. The one thing I do like is the over. It's sitting at 54.5 points right now on my book.
Let me see this.
I really think this is going to hit no matter how this game plays out. I think 54.5 points is a little low for the Big 12. So,
Kansas State's hit the under 4 of the last 5 games.
I agree.
You know?
And that is why that they have brought this down a little bit. But I really think that K-State, after last week, is really going to come out and put their pedal to the metal.
Yeah.
Adrian's going to be running. He
looked good. He played a good game.
He played a good game.
Yeah.
And they had a chance and, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I really think they're going to come out with their pedal on the, foot to the floor here and get a couple early touchdowns and kind of cruise into that over. So my best bet is that over at 54.5, Andy.
Okay, I'll go along with the over, and I'm going to hang with the Kansas State Wildcats. Okay. I think this is a get-back game. They're still 6-3-1 against the spread.
Exactly.
And West Virginia can be had. They're not really playing for anything right now. They're 2 games under 500.
Exactly.
And they're still, and Kansas State has a trip to the Big 12 championship game in front of them.
Agreed.
So once again, this isn't a lay-down game or a sneak-up game where the Mountaineers might catch you.
No, exactly. Like you were just saying, we're saying TCU has something to play for. Kansas State really has something to play for. They have to win or die here. If they lose this game, they are out of the Big 12 championship. Yep. They have to win this game. I really think the Wildcats are going to show up. And I don't know if they cover. I don't like 7.5, Andy.
I know that hook. That's tough.
I would go money line. The minus 290 money line is still a good parlay piece. So that's the way I would lean towards that in the over.
All right. Well, if I'm feeling a little frisky Saturday morning, I still might get that
there
spread.
You go.
And also might get bet down. You
never know.
You never know. That's not really what I was looking right now.
Yeah.
But you never. Yeah, stranger things have happened, right?
You got it.
All right. So we talked number 3 Michigan, number 4 TCU, Kansas State, Illinois. Yeah, they're all ranked. But let's talk about the game that everybody's thinking about.
Yeah, let's get into it.
The Wisconsin Badgers traveling to Lincoln, Nebraska, and could you believe it? The Huskers are again over a touchdown, 2-score underdog at home. I mean, we know where the Huskers are, but it's still shocking to see it on paper that Nebraska is a home dog by over 2 scores. It's an 11 o'clock kickoff on ESPN.
We were dogs by 4 scores last week, and we couldn't do that either.
Couldn't cover it.
Yeah, couldn't cover it. But Nebraska has only kept 3 teams from hitting 60% of their passes, and they're 0-6 when allowing teams to run more than 170 yards. Yeah. Wisconsin will do both of these things, Andy.
Last year, the Huskers, I was having a lot of fun with it because they were covering. Remember all those 1-score losses?
For sure.
They had no business being in those games. They had no business losing by 9 or whatever it was to Ohio State.
Of course not.
So that was
3 to Michigan.
So at this time last year, I think they're sitting at something like 7-3 against the spread.
Right.
This year it's the opposite.
Yes.
I mean, the averages have caught up to them. They are 3-7 against the spread. Wisconsin's not much better. They're 5-5, but you just feel like at least they have a competent team.
Yeah.
They fired their coach, a week after Nebraska did?
Exactly.
So they're kind of in the same boat, but they're a 10-point favorite on the road.
Exactly. And the Badgers have been lousy on the road, Andy, but I think they'll get past this last week's frustrating loss against Iowa and play a balanced kind of football game, offense, and the defense is just miles ahead of ours as well. So Nebraska will have a few big offensive plays, I believe. Try and get Trey Palmer on on a fly or something like that. But it won't be enough for him in the second half. I'm expecting Wisconsin 26, Nebraska 13.
Okay, and so you like that over at 39.5?
It's right there. It's literally right there, Andy.
Everyone's betting the under. I mean, everyone.
Yeah.
And when I see that, That makes me want to go the other way. Maybe that's just my personality or a disorder I have.
Yeah.
But Wisconsin has hit that over 6 out of their last 8 games. Now, Nebraska doesn't always have the offense to hold up their end of the bargain.
For sure.
But I'm hearing our quarterback, Casey Thompson, should be back, right?
If Casey's playing, I like the over. If Casey is playing, I like the over. But I have a feeling if Casey comes out and says that he is playing, this 39.5 will not stay there very long. So if you think he's going to play,
he's playing.
Lock it in now. If you don't think he's playing, I don't know how to bet this game.
I mean, I can't believe that it's so low, and yet, I mean, the last consensus straight up said 100% of the money's going in on that under.
Well, it's just because people know that Nebraska can't score without Casey Thompson, and that's the way that it has been. We only scored 3 points last week, and Michigan was playing their second and third stringers at the end of the third quarter.
There's nothing they can do.
There's nothing we can do. I don't like anything in this game other than I know that Wisconsin's going to win the game.
But that money line's not that good of a value.
No,
it's
exactly.
a terrible value.
No, it's terrible. So I might stay away from this altogether, except if Casey is playing. I do like that over, Andy.
All righty. It's hard to argue with any of those points when we're talking Nebraska football.
Yeah.
That's just the state that we're in right now.
Yeah, well, I hate piling on, too. It's just the way that we are right now.
All right, so let's take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners. That is Play Action Pools, as they're revolutionizing group hosting platforms. Make it your new spot for all your football contest needs. There's also some fun NBA and college basketball contests going on as well. Play today at playactionpools.com. You hear the horn? That means we're up against it. Don't go anywhere, folks. This is WTL.